The administration in place came with a manifesto of renewed hope, which prioritizes the creation of sufficient jobs and ramping up of local production of goods, investing in agriculture and public infrastructure, providing economic opportunities for the poorest and most vulnerable, as well as creating better national security architecture to tackle all forms of insecurity. 1 year after, what are the pains and what are the gains? Let's listen to Nigerians speak on these on Voices on the Streets.
The assessment, in my own opinion, that the president is actually trying, but he's also buckled up in terms of the economy. At least there's high cost of living. At least you make sure that the economy is stabilized, and because there's actually a change of things since he assumed the office, high cost of living, removal of fuel subsidy. I think if he actually try to help Nigeria, he should actually work much on the economy so that the citizens will be in a better place to enjoy his government more.
This 1 year, honestly, the economic meltdown is not something to talk about. Is it the price of commodity? The cost of living is extremely high for people. If you go out there, people are just unnecessarily angry, because of what everyone is facing. I will not say that it has been favorable. That's my conclusion. It has not been favorable over this 1 year. Yeah.
I'm very happy, you understand? And we are very, very happy that at least there was a successful transition from Muhammad Buhari to President Tinubu. And I must tell you that Nigerians are suffering. Yeah, there's a lot of things he should do. The removal of fuel subsidy was done in a hasty, no consultations, and at the same time, there is nothing much done by the presidency to alleviate the sufferings of Nigeria. Then the dollar exchange, the exchange of Naira and dollar. Things are very costly and people are suffering. And up to today, there is no increment on the salaries of the workers.
As a Nigerian and a mother, what is happening in our country today, we thank God for the President, Ahmed Tinubu, that God brought to us, that the way he's going with things, I think things is going to get better. All we need to do is just to have patience with him. Again, this tariff, electricity, this thing, they should help us to reduce it. I think it will help us a lot again, because a lot of people cannot put 3 square meals on their table. We are going through a lot in Nigeria. Food is going higher and higher. They should do something about the food.
Voices on the Street there. While the Tinubu administration has 3 more years to deliver on his mandate, let's watch as these housing stakeholders give a scorecard of President Tinubu's 1 year in office.
It's just a year now that President Tinubu took over the mantle of leadership in Nigeria. I congratulate him. I congratulate the party and all the people who have been working with him. They have laid and they are still laying very solid foundations for the shelter sector. A lot of people have been put in key positions to do particular things which will facilitate the work of the sector. So I'm very happy that the Honorable Minister who is there now, and even the sectoral ministers in all the ministries dealing with infrastructure, they are there, and we believe that they will do wonderfully well.
I have a mixed scorecard. The problem of Nigeria will not going to be solved in 1 year, but the policy directions, there must be suffering. We have always known that whoever wins the 2023 election, Nigeria will go through a suffering to get it better. And by my own reckoning, they are taking some positive steps to be able to cut the losses. The removal of oil subsidy is one. Trying to make sure that we have a very positive and proactive direction in creating wealth is the second thing. On the mixed baggage, we are still funding things like Hajj. We are still funding useless expenditures, things that are not productive. I'm sure that within this past 1 year, he must have assessed the feedback from some of the policies that he has enunciated. So it is time for Mr. President and his team to go back to the drawing board. What they thought was on ground before they came in, they have seen the reality on ground. And therefore, for them to now recalibrate themselves, it's still early in the day. They still have another 4 years to be able to, another 3 years to get it right. So it is time for them to go back and reevaluate themselves in the light of the reality of what they are seeing. They are in charge now. There's no time to blame past administration. What it is now is to find solution to unemployment, to find solution to inflation, to find solution to lack of productivity at all levels, and above all else, to make sure that the workers have increased salary. The workers' salary cannot solve even 10% of their problem.
I will rate him highly because he has come up with the Renewed Hope Housing Project. And the person he has chosen as his Minister of Housing is somebody who is an architect and who has a passion for housing, and he has already taken off effectively.
Tinubu started by saying, I want Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. This made us happy as a civil society. Remember during the Obasanjo, we fought for it, that states also should have a stay-alone Ministry of Housing. And I can report to you as a success story, many of the states have a stay-alone Ministry of Housing colleague. You go to Port Harcourt to see, because Odili was part of the committee there, presidential committee on housing. And Odili started it by having a ministry, stay-alone Ministry of Housing. In Lagos, you see Ministry of Housing, stay-alone. You know what I'm saying? The present president was in Lagos. And he had a prime minister. First achievement. Then after that, we saw the list of the ministers. We just saw one of our own in the housing advocacy. So we started shouting, come, put somebody who knows about housing. Don't put somebody who does not know anything about housing. Put an expert. And that was what gave birth to Dangiwa. And all of us stakeholders were very happy. But especially those who have met Dangiwa either one time or time, and you know his capacities. Since they have done it well somewhere, he should be able to do it well again. They've launched their Renew Hope, which Mr. President attended. And I remember on that day, Mr. President said, every Nigeria deserves a decent house. I can't believe it. To me, I see it as a serious achievement that he himself knows that me and you deserve a house. Everyone deserves a house for Mr. President Tinubu. So I believe that the only thing that he needs is for us to get his political will to actualize what he said on that day at the launching of the Renew Hope Housing Estate and City.
The government comes in, there's a lot of dislocations, exchange issues, economic issues, a lot of insecurity issues. What you want to do first is stabilize. And that's what the value is. It's only when you stabilize that you can look forward. If you are not stable, you don't have the presence of mind. And that's what they've been doing, trying to do in the economy, CBN intervention, and getting involved and trying to sanitize the environment. But moving forward, people have high expectations. So a lot of this period has been stabilizing things, making sure that we have the right people there. As we move forward, and now it comes to the issue of housing, I must also say that some right steps have been taken by people at the end of our years for housing. Dangiwa, the Honorable Minister, is a tested hand, an architect. Before now, he was the director of Federal Market Bank. So he's seen it all. He's been on housing supply and demand. He actually managed an organization in charge of providing housing and finance. So really, and I think the step being taken beyond building the home for the renewal agenda, he has set up committees to look at the issue of land reform, which is critical, because that land reform affects housing supply and affects demand. So he must try and sort it out. He set up committees to look at institutions, how to review them, how to make them improve on their services, federal market, all the ones on that, which is also key to part of improving the enabling environment. And a lot of other committees. And I'm sure these committees have been working. I'm not sure they've brought in their report. It's only when they bring their report, which is by the stakeholders, we will have information to where we should go. And that is a good way not to have a prejudged moment of where we are going. We want to take the information of the people, from stakeholders, and work together with them. I believe that the real work will start after they submit their report.
As we move into year 2, we want to appeal to the federal government to have provision for social housing. I want to appeal to federal government to put urban regeneration as part of a priority. And then, rental housing.
Okay.
It's also critical, important. Not everybody wants to own a house. All over the world. The government cannot be taking on providing houses for everybody. Because of people, even if you give them house, they're not interested. So as Danke will enter, as President Tinubu enter into year 2, they should declare housing revolution in all the state capitals.
Yeah.
Create as many sites as possible that will create jobs. The bricklayer, the carpenter, the everybody. Do you know if there are a lot of jobs in all those state capitals for in the area of estate development? Do you know we can reduce the level of criminality?
Yes.
Some of those boys are doing criminality.
Exactly.
Because they don't have jobs.
Yes.
And then, government must help, not make provision for first home owners. One of the good things Tinubu administration have done is in the area of student loan.
Yes.
Which has started, which has kicked off. Why don't you also think of how you can tie those boys down, the boys who are giving loan? Because when they take this loan and they graduate, they don't get a job, they will japa. Why can't you also make a provision for first-time home owner? Wherein our percentage, our population of youth is about 60%. Where those youth are now saying that they can take student loan and that they don't need to run away by the way after they've taken the loan, because there's another opportunity somewhere wherein they can get house as a first-time home owner, and there's an incentive for that, a mortgage support from the Federal Mortgage Bank, or family home fund, help to own, all those kind of products. There's no way they want to run away.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. In his inaugural speech last year, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu told Nigerians his swearing in was a sublime moment. He says, and I quote, "We have endured hardship that would have made other societies crumble. Yes, we have shouldered the heavy burden to arrive at this sublime moment where the prospect of a better future merges with our improved capacity to create that future." End of quote. Well, this report coming up seeks to highlight President Tinubu's 1 year in office, a look at housing development in the country.
The renewed hope mantra came at a time when the hopes of Nigerians were hanging in the balance. A fragile economy, rising cost of living, inflation, and a host of other challenges made the new narrative difficult to accept. As a result, the new rhetorics of the incoming administration received a mixed reception. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in on May 29, 2023, with a bold mandate to steer the ship of the nation from murky waters. The highlight of the event being the removal of fuel subsidy. This was embedded in the famous statement that sets the pace for the coming months.
Is there for fuel subsidy? The fuel subsidy is gone.
This became a huge trajectory with huge ramifications for all sectors of the Nigerian economy. The months that followed ushered in a new level of economic struggles as Nigerians battled to move forward in the face of current economic reality. of the intricacies involved in leadership. The effectiveness of a nation's leadership depends on the overall performance of the ministers. As a result, architect Ahmed Dangiwa's emergence as minister was greeted with encomiums. This was particularly owing to his pedigree in the industry and his core understanding of how the sector works. There were high hopes that the new crop of leaders will restore sanity in the housing industry. Dangiwa was quick to lay out the bold vision for the industry, mapping out core strategies to change the narrative of the sector. This was summed up in his bold vision to turn the nation into a construction site.
With your capable, bold and history-making leadership, we intend to turn the country into a giant construction site in our quest not just to provide affordable homes and decent communities in Nigeria.
The weeks that followed showed the intentionality of the new minister as he swung fully into action. Through various collaborations and initiatives, Dangiwa has continued to lay the blueprints for sustainable development in the housing sector. Some notable milestones were the establishment of the Reform Task Teams. This was a move that espoused the inclusion factor of the new leadership to engage stakeholders fully in the new visions.
Well, in the next 8 weeks, we want them to produce their own reports. The report should be all-encompassing, deliverables, what they expect us to do, actionable points, and how we could do it. We want them even to give us the low-hanging fruits within the next 8 weeks so that we can start implementing those reforms that they have done. At the end of it, we now present to the Federal Executive Council some of the things or some of the issues that need to go to National Assembly. From there, we now proceed to National Assembly to reform most of these institutions, like the Federal Housing Authority that has been established since 1975, 73. Now it's 50 years already. So those bills need to be looked at again by the National Assembly and ensure that they reform those institutions so that institutions can be either partially commercialized so that even the low income, the middle income, the high income are catered for as a Nigerian.
Welcome back. You're watching Housing Development. The Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria had an exceptional investiture ceremony of the 5th president of the association. Narrate the sights and sound.
The Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, REDAN, a principal agency and umbrella body of the organized real estate sector, recognized by the federal government of Nigeria and saddled with the responsibility of ensuring the availability of affordable housing for all of Nigeria, had an exceptional investiture ceremony of the 5th president of the association. The newly elected president, Prince Akintoye Adeoye, played host to an array of remarkable dignitaries in honor of the 5th REDAN president's investiture ceremony. Giving his remarks, the grand patron of REDAN, Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi, the Ooni of Ife, charged the newly elected president of REDAN to impact positive value propositions in providing affordable housing for Nigerians.
My challenge to the new president, brand new president, the prince himself, on behalf of all the traditional rulers, is work towards how you can impact positively in terms of value proposition for this great association. Work towards how we can be manufacturing homes in this country and not building homes. When we manufacture homes, we can build many cities within months. When we manufacture homes, we can build high-rises within a month or two. It has never happened in our country, but during your time, I believe we can go vertical and do it within 90 days. It is very possible.
Prince Akintoye Adeoye was officially decorated as the 5th president of REDAN by the immediate past president and other past presidents of the association. Giving his remarks as the 5th president of REDAN, Adeoye pledged his commitment to uphold maximum standards in moving the association forward, as well as work with past presidents of the association to achieve great results.
As president, I'm committed to building a stronger association, building upon the solid foundation laid by my predecessors. However, this journey is not one I can undertake alone. I will need your ideas, your support, your hard work and your dedication as we strive to build a better association and by extension, a better future for our beloved country.
The Board of Trustee Chairman, REDAN, Prince Oluseyi Lufadiju, while congratulating the 5th president of REDAN, called on the president to pursue the cause for affordable housing to a logical end.
They have laid and they are still laying very solid foundations for the shelter sector. A lot of people have been put in key positions to do particular things which will facilitate the work of the sector.
Prince Akintoye Adeoye, the 5th president of REDAN, is an experienced and prominent real estate developer and legal practitioner.
It is countdown to the 18th Africa International Housing Show, the largest housing and construction festival in Nigeria. Plan now to join real estate professionals from around the world at the West Africa's premier affordable housing conference for the latest news, innovations, and best practices. Over 5,000 housing and industry-related professionals attended last year's event. This year's conference will be packed with experts and information to help your business meet challenges and deliver for your client. Exhibitors from over 10 countries will be in attendance. If you missed last year's conference or just want to relive the highlight, watch this. For participation in Africa's International Real Estate Festival as an exhibitor, visit the website shown on your TV screen. At the second Chronicle Roundtable held this month, Vice President Kashim Shettima implored Nigerians to be patient with the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he steers the ship of state through the economic turbulence and storm he met on ground on assumption of office. He says, and I quote, "Nigeria's economy will experience significant growth once we've overcome these sacrifices. Positive changes will soon be evident across all economic indicators: inflation, per capita income, GDP numbers, poverty reduction, food security, and all aspects close to the heart of our people." End of quote. As Tinubu's administration marks its first year, the journey has been fraught with challenges. While the government has made strides in certain areas, the socio-economic conditions have been harsh for many Nigerians. As Tinubu's government marks 1 year into its 4-year term, Some Nigerians are saying they are disappointed so far, but are optimistic that things could be better. On that note, I wrap up today's edition of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. I remain your housing diva, Fleur Ani. Have a lovely day.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news. When the city is getting